in this video, I want to go over some really important notation for translations. And so I'm just going to write that down. It's like important notation for translations. It's actually really straightforward and simple, but it's very important that we understand it if you ever see it on a question. So there we go. And so the first thing I'm going to direct you to is something known as vector form. And basically it's just something that kind of looks like a bracket, like sort of a long bracket. And let's say A is some number and B is some other number. And by the way, this is not a division sign. It's not A divided by B. Just A is on top and B is below. And so what does this mean? So the number on top means that you're moving it by left and right. And the number on the bottom means you're moving it up or down. All right, so let's just go through some examples to sort of explain what this all means. So let's try example 1. So let's say, for example, I have some function f of x, okay, and I translate by -5, 2. All right. So what does that mean? Well, what this means is it's you translate left. So since this is -5, it's exactly as you read it. So you would say left 5 units, right? And then you would say translate up 2 units. All right? So it's exactly as you read it. If you see a negative, it just means to the left. If you see positive, it means to the right. If you see a negative in the bottom one, it means to the down. And if you see a positive, it means up. So translate left 5 units and then translate up 2 units. Let's do another example. So example 2. So let's say, for example, I have f of x and I translate it to f of x minus 3 minus 2. Okay. So first, maybe it's always a good idea to just write the transformations. So what we can see here, it's like it's translated, so it's 3 units right. And then we would say 2 units down. So we can write it in words, or another way of writing it is simply by saying, so translate, and then you can just write it in vector form. So if it's 3 units right, it's simply going to be 3. And if it's 2 units down, that's going to be -2. And that's it. So you can either write it in words like that, or you can just simply write it in vector form. Let's do another example. So example 3. So let's say you go from f of x to excuse me there. You do go to -2 f of 6 minus 2x plus 1, right? And if I asked you to list the transformations, remember the first thing that we have to do is factor. So it's -2 f of -2, and that's going to be x minus 3 plus 1. Because -2 times x is -2x, and -2 times -3 is positive 6. So let's state the transformations. So this negative here and that negative here definitely mean that there's a reflection. So there's a reflection across both the x and y axes. All right. Then there's a stretch in the y direction by a factor of 2. I'm just going to write by 2 just because I'm sort of running out of space here. And then again, there's a stretch in the x direction by 1/2. So by a factor of 1/2. Because remember, we take the reciprocal of that. And finally, I'm going to write this in vector notation. So if you observe here, this is 3 to the right, 1 up. So you're going to simply say, you can just simply write translate 3, 1. And that explains it. That just means 3 to the right and 1 up. All right, and let's see if there's any other examples. No, that's it. That's it for the examples, and I'll see you in the next video.